Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on this historic day. And you will hear why that is true in a moment after you hear from the speakers that we have with us. But I could not think of a more fitting place than Freedom Tower to make the announcement that will be made today by Governor DeSantis. And that felt great to say that this morning. I tell you what, it should be clear to you, since half our administration is now down in the southern part of the state, and just last night we were in Tallahassee, it should be clear to you that this governor is ready to work. And this morning and the announcement that will be made is proof of that. I am excited and proud of Governor DeSantis for fulfilling a promise to appoint well-qualified jurists for a passion and an understanding what the rule of law means to this great state, and what separation of powers means to the stability of our strength of government. I am especially proud to be a part of the group making this announcement this morning because I share so much in common with our nominee. We both went to Florida colleges. We both served as judges. We both served as lawyers with statewide law firms. And we both served as federal prosecutors. Both of us have a reverence and awe of our judicial system and understand what it means to take chaos and reduce it to order. That the judicial system is an anchor in what otherwise seems like unrest. So I'm proud to be here this morning. I am proud of this administration, and they are living up to the commitments that they made throughout this campaign. And I would like to announce to you and introduce a woman that I have gotten to know over the course of last year, and it's great that she's here today in her hometown, Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez.
Good morning. Thank you so much to our new Attorney General, who I know is going to do great things for the state of Florida. It is absolutely a historic day today here in Miami. We are so proud to be here to announce our nominee. I am so proud to be standing alongside Governor DeSantis. He is a man of conviction, a man of principle, and I know that he's going to do great things for our state. And it is also especially fitting for me to be here in my hometown, to be standing here in such a historic place, the Freedom Tower, that served as a beacon of hope for so many of my family, many of my community that came through these doors, escaping a communist regime in Cuba. And it is also fitting that the Freedom Tower stands for democracy enshrined in the rule of law. And that is something that our governor is committed to. And he is committed to fulfilling the promises he made throughout the campaign. Those promises of ensuring that he would appoint Supreme Court justices that would apply the law, that would uphold the Constitution, and not legislate from the bench. And it is an especially proud moment for me to be here, to stand alongside him, to stand alongside our Attorney General, and applaud the first step in fulfilling that promise. So please join me in welcoming our governor in his first act coming to this great city, my hometown of Miami. Please join me in welcoming Governor Ron DeSantis.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Jeanette. My wife, Casey, is also here with us. I think that our constitutional system has proven its mettle over many generations, and part of that is that the courts have an important but limited role. They are to apply the law and Constitution as they're written. They're not allowed to change the law or change the Constitution. They can't legislate from the bench. And as we went through this Supreme Court process, I was given 11 names from the Judicial Nominating Commission. I had all 11 candidates be interviewed by a cadre of very sophisticated attorneys, and I was not present for those interviews, but they really put them through the ringer, briefed me on that process, and then I, subsequent to that, personally sat down one-on-one with each of the 11 candidates. And so this was something that I took very seriously. It's something I discussed on the campaign trail, and I thought it was really, really important for Florida that we have good, strong justices to be on the Supreme Court. And I'm happy to report today that we have found one of those individuals to serve. And so today it's going to be my honor and privilege to announce that I'm going to appoint Judge Barbara Lagoa to the Florida Supreme Court. Judge Lagoa's husband, Paul, and their 3 wonderful daughters are also with us here today. Her father and mother, as well as her father-in-law and mother-in-law, are here today. Judge Lagoa's credentials are impeccable. She has served for the last 12 years as an appellate judge on Florida's 3rd District Court of Appeals. She grew up in Miami. She stayed here in Florida to go to college at Florida International University, and we were discussing it, but I believe she will be the first Florida International University graduate to ever be on the Supreme Court in Florida. She went on to Columbia University Law School. She served as an associate editor of the Law Review. She's also done complex civil work, criminal experience, having served as an assistant United States attorney for the Southern District of New York, or Southern District of Florida, in the civil major crimes and appellate section. Of all the nominees, and they were all great nominees on this list, she clearly had the most judicial experience. I think she's had over 11,000 cases and 470 opinions. And in those 12 years and in all those opinions and all those cases, she's earned the respect of the Florida legal community and of her peers. She was elected to become the next chief judge of the 3rd District Court of Appeals. And I think that is a testament to how she has been really the essence of what a judge should be. She also has a great personal story, and I think she's going to speak a little bit about that today, but I thought it was fitting given the fact that her parents came to Florida as Cuban exiles, or just processed through this Freedom Tower that we made this announcement here today. So she understands the rule of law, how important that is to a society. She's fluent in both English and Spanish. She will be the first Hispanic woman ever to be on the Supreme Court of Florida. We also know, and because of her family history, she understands that in Cuba the rule of law doesn't mean anything. The Cuban people do not know what laws will apply to them or whether they will receive a fair trial after arbitrarily being accused of political crimes. Fathers and mothers go to sleep without knowing whether that will be their last night outside or whether they will be able to hug their children, because it's all at the whim of the state. And so her backdrop, understanding that, I think has really made her appreciate the importance of the rule of law. So Judge Lagoa, your family's proud of you. I couldn't be more honored to appoint you to be the 87th Justice for the Florida Supreme Court. And before I turn it over to Judge Lagoa, I'm just going to say a few words in Spanish. Es un gran honor anunciar mi primera nominación a la Corte Suprema de la Florida a una mujer hispana, cubana-americana, la jueza Barbara Lagoa, de la ciudad de Hialeah. Barbara Lagoa se convierte en la primera jueza hispana en la Corte Suprema de la Florida. La jueza Lagoa ha demostrado ser un gran jurista en la tercera Corte de Apelación y es una gran defensora de la Constitución. La familia de Barbara escaparon de la tiranía en Cuba y ella sabe que la defensa de la Constitución, no del gobierno, es primordial. Es un gran honor para mí nombrar a la jueza Barbara Lagoa a la Corte Suprema de la Florida.
Governor, thank you so much. I am grateful to you, and I'm deeply humbled and honored by this appointment. I'm particularly humbled because of where we stand today. the Freedom Tower. Over 50 years ago, my parents, like so many others, came to this country from Cuba to start rebuilding their lives in a land that offered them opportunity, but more importantly, freedom. I know that the farthest thing from their minds when they arrived here with only the clothes on their back and their education was that their only child would be here standing today with the governor of Florida at an event like this today, especially since my father had to give up his dream of becoming a lawyer. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am today to be able to share this with my parents, Antonio y Araceli Lagua. I was born in Miami and I grew up in Hialeah, a great community filled with many hardworking families. I rode my bike and I roller skated down the streets and the sidewalks of Hialeah under the watchful eye of my grandmother, while my parents worked long hours. My parents' sacrificed to send me to Catholic school, further instilling in me an abiding faith in God that has grounded me and sustained me through the highs and lows of life. I never imagined, while I was attending FIU, that I would be an appellate court judge at the court next door to that university. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Professor John Stack, who without his encouragement, I would never have applied to Columbia Law School, where I became a member of the Law Review. Now, for those of you who know anything about Cuban American families, I'm not just an only child, but also an only grandchild. So going to law school in New York City was not a popular decision in my house. But now with children of my own, I understand how difficult it was for my parents to let me go. But because they valued education above all else, they understood how important it was for me to go to the best law school in the country. No offense, of course, to those who went to Harvard, Governor or my husband, Paul. Yale doesn't count, Jackie, okay? For the past 12 years, I've had the honor of serving as an appellate judge on the 3rd District Court of Appeal, which hears appeals in both Miami-Dade County and Monroe County. The men and women I've worked with on the court diligently tend to the rule of law, and I thank them for their camaraderie, friendship, and support over these many years. Of course, the Florida Supreme Court's work is important not just to the region, but to the entire state. The Florida Supreme Court is tasked with the protection of the people's liberties under law. And in that regard, I am particularly mindful of the fact that under our constitutional system, it is for the legislature and not the courts to make the law. It is the role of judges to apply, not to alter, the work of the people's representatives. And it is the role of judges to interpret our Constitution and statutes as they are written. In the country my parents fled, the whim of a single individual could mean the difference between food or hunger, liberty or prison, life or death. In our great country and our great state, we are governed by the rule of law, the consistent and equal application of the law to all litigants regardless of a judge's personal preferences. Unlike the country my parents fled, we are a nation of laws, not of men. I'd like to thank those who helped me reach this moment. Before I was a judge, I was a practicing lawyer, both in private practice and as a federal prosecutor. And I want to thank my mentors and colleagues from those years who taught me what it means to be a good lawyer, a good writer, and a good colleague. I want to thank also the members of the Judicial Nominating Commission, the men and women who put their professional and personal lives on hold, dedicating countless hours to the nomination process. I also want to thank Governor Jeb Bush for appointing me to the 3rd District Court of Appeal over 12 years ago. Without his confidence in me, I would not be standing here today. Thank you to my friends. Your generous outpouring of support and prayers, your phone calls, your texts, your love has been a blessing through this process. Thank you. Finally, I would like to thank my family. I've already mentioned my parents, Antonio and Araceli Lagua, Mommy and Papi. Your hard work, your belief in the value of education, your love for what this country represents, your unparalleled work ethic have made me the person I am today. Mommy, Papi, Gracias por todos los sacrificios que hicieron para mí y que hacen todavía para mí y para tus nietas. Nunca tendré suficientes palabras para expresar el profundo amor que tengo para ustedes y el orgullo de ser tu hija. Gracias por todo, mami, papi. To my father-in-law, Judge Paul Huck, who does not speak Spanish. Your integrity, dedication, and humility have been examples to me and to all those privileged to wear a black robe. But more importantly, Paul, thank you for your love of family. To my mother-in-law, Donna Huck, thank you for everything you do for us, except for all the baking you do at Christmas time, because now we all have to lose the weight that we've gained. I want to thank my husband, Paul. You've been my constant source of love and support for these past 23 years. I could not have done this process without you. You are my partner in everything in life. But more importantly, thank you for giving me our 3 amazing daughters, Claudia, Eloise, and Camilla, in birth order, so there is no favoritism, okay? Girls, you inspire me with your kindness, intelligence, thoughtfulness, and generosity. I cannot thank you enough for your support, for your love, and for your prayers, and everything you've done for me for this process. I love you very much. Governor, thank you again for this honor and this opportunity to serve this great state of Florida that has given my family so many opportunities. I am truly humbled. Thank you.
What a great statement. And just so you guys know, I didn't tell her she was getting appointed until last evening, so that's pretty doggone good.
2 in the morning.
So we're really happy. The judge and I are here. If anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to take some. All I can say is to the people of South Florida, I shall return very soon. You know, it's important, but it's important because you're making sure you're drawing people from diverse experiences, but you're insisting on excellence. And so Barbara, as being an excellent judge, I think will probably apply the law similarly to other people, I think, who may have different backgrounds who are also excellent judges. You know, I looked at it. I remember when we were here, 5 months ago, when we named Jeanette as our running mate. And, you know, I said then that I thought Jeanette's life, what she's done, was really a great inspiration to a lot of young women, and should be. And I think the same with Barbara. I think people could look at what she's done as a professional, as a wife, as a mother. You know, this is really the way it should be done. So I'm really excited about being able to put her on the court. Not really, because I haven't gotten any types of reports or details on it. So it is what it is. I shall return. You guys, we will let you know when we're back, and it's not going to take forever, but we'll.
Como una niña que creció en Hialeah, este es un orgullo, es un honor, la nominación y la selección de justicia de la Corte Suprema. Mis padres son cubanos y yo soy hija de cubanos en exilio. Y para mí es un gran orgullo poder ser la primera hispana en la Corte Suprema del estado de la Florida. La carrera de leyes es una carrera difícil, pero es una carrera muy bonita y una carrera que de verdad te puede dar mucho, agradecimiento y gratitud de servicio para la comunidad. Sí, siempre, yo soy un ejemplo de alguien que nació aquí, soy niña que creció en Hialeah, y para mí, yo quiero que todas las niñas que son latinas tengan la oportunidad de saber que todo lo que sueñan se puede lograr.
¿Qué significa para usted estar hoy aquí en la Torre de la Libertad, donde eventualmente sus padres en algún momento estuvieron buscando esa libertad?
Para mí es un gran orgullo estar aquí, en este lugar que significa tanto para la comunidad cubana americana.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.